Algebra 2, Year 2, homework for Thursday, September 4th. First, for our fill in the blanks, all you have to do is figure out what property, if bases are the same and you're multiplying, this is the product rule, you add the exponents. This is dealing with negative exponents. If you have a negative exponent, you bring it in the denominator if it's in the numerator, or in the numerator if it's in the denominator. So this is the negative exponent rule. And when you have something raised to a power, this is the power to power rule, you multiply those two. So we're going to call this the power rule. And anything to the zero power, that is your zero exponent rule, which is 1. Okay, next we are going to simplify these. Number 5, bases are the same and you're multiplying, so you leave the base the same and you add the exponents. Now, what you could do is multiply this out. 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. Those are both good answers. Number 6, bases are the same, so you're going to keep the base the same and add these two exponents. Number 7, bases are the same and you're dividing, so think of this as you have 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So what you have is 3 to the third power on top. You could use the subtraction rule, which you're going to subtract 5 minus 2, which is 3, and 3 to the third is 27. Number 8, bases are the same, so you're going to subtract the exponents. 7 minus 4 is 3. Number 9, this one is two things, a 2 and a 3 raised to the negative 2 power. So what you could do is flip the 3 and the 2, and then you make it a positive 2, square it, so you get 9 over 4. This one is saying negative 1 over 4 to the positive 2 power. So it's going to be negative 1 over 16. Number 11, we have 2 negative exponents right here. So the 6 and the z stay on top, and x becomes positive squared, y becomes positive cubed in the denominator. Number 12. Okay, this one, what you're going to do is simplify. 7 goes into 14 2 times. Now we have x's. We have 1 x on top and 3 that are negative on the bottom. So these 3 negative ones are going to come up with this one, and you're going to get x to the 4th power. This y to the negative 1 is going to come up here. You're going to get y cubed. And this z to the negative 3 is going to come down here. Combine it with that, you get z to the 7th. Number 13. This is 1, so 7 times 1 is 7. 14. This is 1, negative 7 times 1 is negative 7. This whole thing is raised to the 0 power. Both of these are raised to the 0 power, so the answer is 1. This is going to be 1, and then the negative in front will make it negative 1. Back side, number 17, 5 cubed and x cubed cubed. So it's 5 to the third over x to the 3 times 3 is 9. A better answer would be 125 over x to the 9. Okay, this one, you're gonna raise -3 to the -2 power, x squared to the -2, so that's gonna be x to the -4, and y to the -6, positive 6, because -3 times -2 is positive 6. So now this, you're gonna bring in the denominator and make it a positive 2. This is also going in the denominator, so y to the 6th over -3 times -3 is 9, so that's gonna be 9 in the bottom, x to the 4th. So this is gonna go in the denominator. Number 19. What I would do on this one is simplify this piece right here. Don't do that yet. So 2 goes into 4 2 times. We have x cubed and we have x. So you have 3 x's on top, you have 3 x's on top and 1 on the bottom. So that gives us 2 x's on top, simplified. You have 2 y's on top and 5 on the bottom. That gives us 3 remaining y's on the bottom. And you've got 5 z's on the top and 7 on the bottom, so that's going to give us 2 z's. Now, since this whole thing is raised to the -1 power, what you're doing, you're going to flip these two, because you're distributing the -1 here. So basically, the numerator and the denominator are going to switch spots. And that's how you deal with that -1. Number 20. Let's first deal with in the parentheses here, before we raise everything to the -2 power. So, for 2 and 6, 2 goes into 6 3 times, so this is really 1/3. Now these two are gonna flip-flop. X squared is gonna be on top, x to the first, so when you simplify it, you get what, x to the first. This -3y is going to come up here, y to the -3 I should say is up here, so it's going to give us y to the 6th. And this -2 is going to come down here and be z to the 6th. Now what we're going to do is distribute. We're going to take this -2 power and multiply it by these exponents. So in other words, you have x to the -2, y to the -12, over 3 to the -2 and z to the -12. So now we have to change these negative exponents to be positive. Running out of room. So what's going to change? We're going to move the x, well, the 3 to the -2 is going to come upstairs, 3 squared. X squared on the bottom. And we have y to the -12 and z to the -12. We're going to flip-flop these. That's your answer. 21. We have a numerator raised to the -2 power. So we have 3 to the -2, and now we have to multiply these two. So x, -3 times -2 is positive 6, and y to the -4, because 2 times -2 is -4. Then in the bottom, -4 times -3 is positive 12, and positive 6 for the y. Now we have to move some things around and simplify. This piece part goes in the denominator. It's going to be 3 squared, and 3 squared is 9. And we have 6 x's on top and 12 on the bottom. That gives us 6 x's remaining on the bottom. And this y to the 4th, -4, is going to come down here and make it y to the 6 and 4 is 10. Now what's in the numerator is a 1. 22. We have to distribute, we have to do 2 to the -1. M to the -1 to the -1, N to the 3rd to the -1, and P to the -2 to the -1, and then square all these. So, in the numerator, you have 2 to the -1, we're doing power to power. M to the +1, because -1 times -1 is +1. n to the negative 3, because 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, and p to the positive 2, because negative 2 times negative 1 is 2. In the bottom, you have 3 squared, which is 9, m to the second, n to the negative 4. I'm just simply multiplying these exponents, and p to the 8, because 4 times 2 is 8. Now we're going to simplify and change all of the negative exponents. So what changes we have to make? First of all, this 2 to the negative 1 is going to come down here, down in the bottom, and become 2 to the positive 1. We have an n here, we're going to cancel with an n here. These two are going to switch spots, so you're going to end up with n to the 4th on top. You're going to have n to the 4th on top and n to the 3rd, which 3 of these cancel with that, and you're going to have just an n. And then you have p to the 6th left on the bottom, because 2 minus 6, 2 minus 8 is 6, so you have 6 left over. Now the only thing I would do is multiply these two. You get 18 p6. So n over 18m times p to the 6th. And 2 more. 23, you've got a 3 times 4 to the negative 2. This 4 to the negative 2 goes underneath this 3. This 6 is in the numerator and 8 to the 1st is in the denominator. Now change this, 4 squared is 16. Common denominator, you can't add unless you have the same denominator. So I'm going to multiply both of these by 2. So you have 3/16 plus 12/16, which the numerators now you can add 15 over, keep the denominator as 16. And this last one, 4 to the negative 1 power plus 5 to the negative 1 power. 4 to the negative 1 power is 1/4. 5 to the negative 1 power is 1/5. So the common denominator between 4 and 5 is 20. Because if you do multiples of 4, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, 20 is the first common multiple. So we're going to have to multiply 4 times what to get 25? 1 times 5 is 5. 5 times what gives you 24? 1 times 4 is 4. Now we can add the numerator and keep the denominator the same. That concludes the homework.